Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today I was sitting down and I was thinking to myself, and saying, you know what, it's a beautiful, beautiful Sunday afternoon. I've got nothing else to do. I should film a video. And I thought a little bit, and I decided that the type of video I was in the mood for was something pompous and philosophical. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a discussion video, and it's going to be about the different philosophies of knife reviewing. Now, of course, obviously this is just a video for fun, but I do think that it could open up some interesting debate amongst knife people, and that's the whole reason I do these videos, is just to start conversation. And so, by gosh, that's what we're going to do today, is start some gosh dang conversation. So, the philosophies of knife reviewing. Let's be honest, there are a lot of knife reviewers on YouTube nowadays. They're everywhere. Everyone is a knife reviewer. Everyone who's ever touched a knife is a knife reviewer nowadays. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but there are so many knife reviewers on YouTube. And this is great because it gives a wide variety of tastes a chance to have their voice in the knife community. And what I mean by this is everyone uses knives a little differently, and everyone buys knives for different reasons. And you can tell, a lot of people gravitate toward one aspect or another, or a couple and not others. And the same is true of reviewers. Reviewers review things differently. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about, in my opinion, the different ways to review knives. And I've done lots of thinking about this, lots of deep thinking. I'm basically a philosopher myself, so no, I'm just kidding. But I have thought and decided that there's 4 general categories of knife reviewer. And we're going to get into them right now. The first type of knife reviewer is the details first reviewer. So this is someone who takes a knife and they review it as an object. They review it as a work of craftsmanship. They talk about the finishing on the blade. They talk about, they talk a lot about price. They talk about quality. An example of a knife reviewer who reviews in this style would be like Metal Complex. When he takes a knife, he really looks at the details and he talks about, what the company did right. He talks about the little tiny things that you might not pick up on. Fit and finish, presentation, quality of the materials. These things that are, at first glance, sound kind of snobbish and haughty and whatever, but it's definitely all of these that I'm going to be talking about, by the way, are definitely valid ways to review a knife. I'm not saying that any of them are better than others. I want to get that out of the way right now. But they are all very different. And so if Metal Complex was reviewing this knife here, and I'm just going to grab random knives that I have around me, guys, he wouldn't focus so much on things like the ergonomics, the cutting performance, this, that, and the other, although, he will mention that. And most reviewers have overlaps into these different review philosophies. But he would talk about the finishing. He'd talk about the value that you're getting. He'd talk about the way the knife feels as a look of art, the design. He'd focus on the design of the knife too. The lines, how everything fits together, how it speaks to him, basically. The next type of reviewer is the function first reviewer. And that's someone who focuses very heavily on cutting performance and ergonomics. Someone who's a forward function knife reviewer, a good example would be like Stasa 23 or Neves knives. Very focused on cutting performance, how it feels in your hand, and deployment action. We'll specify some action things, but deployment action, getting the knife out and ready to use. Focus on the way the knife works. The next type of reviewer is the toy reviewer. I know that sounds weird, but hear me out. This is someone who will review a knife in terms of the cool factor, in terms of whether or not it's just a neat object. They focus a lot on action. They focus a lot on does it look cool? They focus a lot on pride of ownership too, I guess. Showing it off to your buddies, or just something that makes you happy. An example of this type of reviewer would be like Lefty EDC, focusing a lot on action. The fidget factor is a big deal, which this knife definitely has fidget factor. Fidget factor is a huge deal. Like I said, the overall looks and aesthetics are a big deal. Basically, reviewing a knife as, does this object, make me happy? Not so much, is this object uber functional? Is the design language very good? They're focused more on, is this a fun item for me personally to own? So that's the fun factor reviewer. And then the last type of reviewer I want to talk about is the quality of life reviewer. And this is someone who takes a knife and they review it as a tool. Knives are tools. They're meant to make our lives easier. They're meant to do a task that makes our lives easier. And these reviewers focus more on reviewing a knife in terms of, if this is your only knife, or you only have a few knives, will this make your life better? How does it perform? How's it carry? How's the price to materials, or price to the value? What's the value like? Is it very easy to sharpen? How's disassembly? This type of reviewer really wants to review the knife in terms of, if this is the only knife you will ever own, how long will it last you, basically, and will it make your everyday tasks easier? An example of this type of reviewer would be Nick Shabazz, or Canadian Cutting Edge, I think. They focus a lot on the things about the knife that make it a good tool. They focus on things that make it an easy tool to maintain. And they focus on things that make it just a great tool for someone who really might not want more than one knife, even though most reviewers have tons and tons of knives. So, like I said, these are kind of the 4 broad terms that I've come to kind of recognize. And if any of those creators I just mentioned see this video, they're 100% welcome to refute what I say and everything. But every reviewer has aspects of all 4 different philosophies. Most knife reviews will mention cutting at some point. Most knife reviews will mention the fit and finish, the fidgetability, stuff like that. But most channels lean into one aspect more than others. For example, my channel, I lean more into the functionality bit than a lot of the other things. In fact, I've had people comment on my videos, you should do more disassemblies. And I have a few disassembly videos on my channel and stuff, but I really only disassemble a knife when I feel like it needs to be disassembled and maintained. Unlike Nick Shabazz or Canadian Cutting Edge, who takes apart the knife in every video pretty much and talks about how easy it is to do that for people who want to know how easy it is to maintain the knife. I also don't go super in depth with little tiny the tiny minutia of fit and finish, because I just don't have an eye for that kind of thing like people such as Metal Complex do. I can look at a knife and I can say, I like this, but explaining every single thing about this knife that makes it feel quality. I can say that it feels like a quality knife, but explaining all the little details that make it quality is something I'm just not very good at, and Metal Complex excels at. I'll be honest, if I were to get a full dress Herman Knives Dragonfly on my channel, somehow, I probably would not be the best person to review that knife, because I just wouldn't, I feel like I just wouldn't be able to properly express appreciation for the fine milling, the fine tuning that goes into the aspects of manufacturing. I honestly couldn't tell you good quality Timascus from bad quality Timascus. And that's just me being honest. It's something that I don't provide a whole lot of on my channel. Likewise, I'm not super focused on fidgetability like other channels are. I can appreciate a good action, and I can appreciate when a knife does that, but to me, it's not something that holds any real value. I'm honestly more concerned with the deployment action, getting the blade out, than I am about how smooth it is on the close. And that's just me. I do mention that in my reviews, this knife is very smooth on the close. But again, if you want someone who's an expert at breaking down different types of action, you should definitely look to someone like Lefty EDC, the way it is. So, yeah. Obviously, I can only speak to my weaknesses because, my channel, it's what I know. But definitely, I focus more on the usability aspect. And this is the great thing about having so many reviewers on the platform nowadays, is because you really get to, as a viewer, as someone who's interested in the knife hobby and you want to watch knife YouTube, you now have a lot of options to look through, and you will probably find someone who very closely aligns to your view of the knife community, to your personal thoughts and opinions and the way that you use knives. And I think that's a great thing. That's a fantastic thing. I don't think there could ever be too many knife reviewers on the platform. You could say that that's, heightening competition for my channel, but I don't really care too much about that because I make these videos for fun, and I know that people who watch my videos enjoy my content. And if people are looking for my type of content, eventually they'll find it. So if you like, a geology college kid playing with knives and cowboying in the summers, then hit that subscribe button. But yeah. So these are my thoughts, and I would absolutely love to hear what everyone else thinks in the comments below. Again, if any creators watch this video, anyone that I mentioned, or heck, anyone that I didn't mention, they just want to chime in, I would absolutely love to hear that, because I think, again, I'm just trying to start conversation, and I think this is something that I've just kind of been thinking of. And for me personally, heck, I like watching channels that even don't necessarily align to everything that I view in the knife world. Heck, when Metal Complex is reviewing a $2,500 custom knife, I'm still going to watch that, even though I'm probably not going to get that knife ever. I like watching what he thinks about it. He looks at knives in a lot of ways differently than I do, and I like seeing that. And so, yeah. I think that's going to be it about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I don't know if I brought out enough knives. Heck, here we go, guys. Here's more knives. We'll throw those out here. We don't want that element. Here's this thing. Yay, knives. Anyways, if you liked the video, leave it a like. Comment below and subscribe. If you didn't like the video, comment below and tell me why not. I love to hear it. And I've been Gideon. I'll see you in the next one.